Boom, boom. Oh shit, did it start? Oh, it did. Oh man, I'm an idiot. Okay. Good dad day, everybody. For those of you that are on TikTok, thank you for hanging out. What's going on, Tequila? Hey, hey, hey. Um, Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for following. I appreciate it. I worked extremely hard and spent a lot of time and a lot of money trying to get at least 1,000 followers so that I could go live when the time came. We're going to do a whole episode today for the podcast. We're going to try and keep it live. We only got 2 people on, but I really appreciate the 2 people that are hanging in. We're going to talk about some fun stuff, some cool stuff. We're going to talk about kind of where we've been. Dad Talk has been, the podcast itself has been gone for it's got to be a couple of months now. I haven't done an episode and I've been feeling really kind of crappy about that because there's a couple of you that have reached out and said, hey, come back, do an episode. I really like listening to it, even though you just kind of talk about bullshit. But yeah, so I was determined to get one done this weekend. I told everybody I was going to get it done, which kind of lit a fire into my ass to make it happen. Um, and yeah, so we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about some cool stuff. Cool. So for those of you that are in or are following, I appreciate all the likes. That's fucking awesome. I don't think I've ever had anybody like a live. I mean, shit, I don't think I've ever gone. Yeah, I've never gone live before. So you're awesome. I really appreciate you guys for hanging out. Um, let's kind of talk about. Let's recap. Okay, let's recap. Let's rewind a little bit. So I started this whole podcast, right? Let's get back to the basics. I started the podcast to talk about guys that are having those problems with the ex, with possibly with custody, any issues that could have arisen from either a divorce or leaving a relationship. And what I'm referring to is, and I hope if they're, for the ladies that are here, I hope that if you do have children and you have I mean, obviously, if you have children, you have a baby daddy. But the gentleman that you had kids with, I hope he's in their lives, and I hope he's not giving you problems, and I hope that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing to hold up his end of the bargain of taking care of his kids, right? But there's a problem with that system, and that's what I created this whole thing to talk about, was the system that's in place to make sure that those things happen. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that. We're going to talk about some new stuff that I came into here, which we got our new wireless Anchor charging block, which this thing is freaking awesome. And then I've also been, you guys know, last time that we were on, that I had the the Galaxy Z Fold 4, I believe, or the 3. Went up to the 4, did a little review on that. And right now, for those of you that are on the live, I am currently rocking the Pixel. Mike, if you hang out for just a minute and let me get through this intro, we can totally do that, man. I'm down. Fuck it, I'll try it out. But yeah, just let me get through the live and then let me get through the intro and then we'll be good to go. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about my thoughts on the Pixel Fold. And then I got a new Nest doorbell that I just installed yesterday, which is pretty rad. And yeah, I think as far as new stuff, and I started a new job now. For those of you that were here before, I was working with, no, thanks. I was working with a group called Innovation 360, and they were a mental health group, and they were awesome. I loved everybody that I was working with, but they ended up closing their doors because they couldn't afford to keep the staff on. They couldn't afford to just like keep things rolling. The program was sort of expensive and things like that for the people that were working with us, but it really did help a lot of people. And so I wanted to stay in the healthcare field. I wanted to stay in the mental health field. So now I am a practice manager for a whole new office. For those of you that don't know, I'm in Austin. And so I'm the practice manager for a whole new mental health office in Austin, and the people there are awesome. Um, but yeah, I just really dig working there. I really dig what I do. And so now that I'm comfortable there and everything's good to go, I'm going to stick around here and kick off the podcast again. So, all right. So we said we were going to talk about the recap. All right. So for those of you that don't know, I was previously in a marriage, and it did not last very long. Um, I got married. Oh shit, how old was I? So let's see, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So I was 32. I think I was 32 when I got married. Yeah, got married. And I know this is gonna ruffle a lot of feathers because it's done this once already. I talked about this on my podcast, and I ended up getting a very fake cease and desist letter from my ex. Um, that said that I was causing mental anguish talking about our past relationship, which cracks me up because uh, that whole relationship caused me mental anguish. So should I have sent her a cease and desist letter? um, yeah. So that relationship was not good. It wasn't good on either side. Now we had good times, but in the overall grand scheme of things, the relationship was not good. And I have to give it up to my friends, two main friends. I mean, I had a lot of friends at the time, but I say that at the time because all those friends that were part of that relationship just straight up fell off. So if you get that, if you've been through that, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you guys will have friends as a couple, and then all of a sudden it just disappears, and it disappears because you know she gets to them first, or he gets to them first and starts talking his shit or their shit or whatever, and and they just ruin it, right? They ruin that whole relationship. So um yeah, anyway, my two friends, my best friend that I've been friends with for like 20 something years, or actually now it's probably 30 something years. Um, and then my really good friend, and there's a inside joke behind that. He's a really good friend, that he actually lives out here in Texas too. And yeah, I mean, they kind of helped me see that it was really just garbage, and I could leave, and you know they were actually going to stick by me, and they have. So I really appreciate that. But in the beginning, just like any other relationship, it was cool. We had a good time. We got along really well. We used to do fun stuff, and we just kind of enjoyed each other's company. And I really think the problem is marriage. I think the institute of marriage just doesn't make sense anymore for a lot of people. Um, but you know, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I'm not going to knock anybody for doing it. Um, we should have never gotten married. I knew that. Even my mother was telling me that. One of her best friends at the time was telling me that. And everybody just kind of saw the signs. And I don't know if it was everybody. Like everybody knew that it shouldn't have happened except for one person, and I think that one person was basically me. Um, but yeah, it just we knew it wasn't something we should have, or I knew at the time that it wasn't something I should have pursued, and I did it anyway. And I did it because, for those of you that don't um, understand this type of thing, and I don't get these questions personally a lot from different people, just kind of from the same people as, well, like, why did you stick it out? Why did you do it? If you knew it was wrong, why did you go through with it? And I went through with it because at the time that was the right thing to do. There was so much buildup, and I know that sounds cliche. There was so much buildup behind the whole thing, and so many people had contributed to it, and so many people had really pressed it that it came down to like, this is just what we're supposed to do. Um, And so I went through with it. I mean, the day of the wedding, I'm standing in this little room getting dressed, and my best friend comes up to me and he says, "I will get you out of here right now. No questions asked. If this is really what you want to do, I'll leave you alone. But if you want to get out of here right now, no questions asked. I can get you out of here and nobody will bug you." And for a split second, I was like, let's roll. But then I thought about it and I was like, that'd be really shitty to do right now. And so I just couldn't do it. Plus, I was blitzed ass drunk out of my mind. And so I don't think I was thinking clearly anyway. But we went through with the wedding. The first, hour was cool. um, we ended up going on like a little mini honeymoon. And I feel like my memory of that, and this is just me, right? I have to say this is just me because if I say this is what it was, she's going to get pissed. So this is just me. I feel like my memory of that is uh, that she just complained the whole time. Like it didn't matter what was happening. It just wasn't good. Um, whether it be the fact that we were on a little island, right? So, and don't get all crazy, okay? I wasn't on like some fancy island. Shit, I was on fucking Catalina Island. So, if you know California, Catalina Island is right off the coast, and it's just like this little nowhere place. I mean, it's cool, it's nice, it's beautiful when you go there, but it's not like the freaking tropics or something. Um, so we were on the island, and when you're on an island, obviously, there can arise situations where there's no like regular water, right? So um, we had to pay for bottled water. I don't care if I have to pay for bottled water because the island's water is shit, or they have a water shortage. I'll pay for water, but it was just like this constant complaining, and that's just one example. I mean, there were other things like going to the beach so that we could swim was a problem. I wanted to buy snorkels so that we could go out there and just kind of fool around, and that was a problem. It was just there was just a lot of things, and so that should have been the key that like things were not going to go well from the beginning. But I kept pursuing, I kept pushing. As time progressed, just like in any relationship, right? Both sides tend to kind of let themselves go, and I can't explain that. I don't know if it's a comfortability thing or what. I think I feel like when I'm in a relationship, I still try. Like it doesn't matter if we've been together for 5 years, 6 years, 1 year. Like I'm still gonna try. I'm still gonna try to dress up nice. I'm not gonna walk around the house in a bunch of ratty shit. I'm not just gonna let myself blow up to like 900 pounds. Like I'm gonna try to look presentable. Even when we're alone, even when it's just like hanging out at home, I'm still going to try and look presentable because that's just unattractive, right? Like you walk around the house dressed in what? Nothing. Like it's just not a good look. Um, and I feel like we lost that. Both of us at the time did. And so we just kind of let ourselves go. And when I realized what was happening, I was like, you know what? We need to get back on track here. Like maybe if we do something together, like go to the gym, maybe that'll help. So um, we got gym memberships, and sometimes I couldn't go with her. So she was like, "Hey, I know we have this gym membership, but can we get a membership? Can I get a membership to this gym because one of my coworkers goes to that gym and I can work out with them?" I'm thinking to myself, "Shit, whatever's gonna help you, right?" So cool, we get that gym membership. Well, then she's like, "Oh, well, there's another gym that I want to go to because this person can go there, and when these two people can't go, I can go with that person." And I'm like, "Hey, look, I know that 3 gym memberships is a little nutty, but, I mean, if that's what helps you, right? Like, let's do that." And so we got another gym membership. So at one time, she held 3 gym memberships. Um, if there was, like, one of those little fad, like, club diets, she did one of those little fad diets. And they're expensive, man. They ain't cheap. Those are expensive ass diets. I think for one thing where it like gave you meal plans and stuff like that, it was like $300. And so like I said, it was not cheap by any means. Um, but I figured like, hey, if this is what helps you and this is what gets you through it, go for it. But here's the real kicker: when things weren't changing, when things weren't progressing, um, the blame fell on me. It was my fault that, my fault that she gained weight. It was my fault that she felt unhappy. It was my fault that she didn't feel loved. It was my fault that, anything that happened was my fault. And that gets old real fucking fast. And this was not even a full year into our marriage. Like, shit was already starting to tank. And I'm trying to think of any kind of way to pull this out, right? So I tried to change my attitude. I tried to change how I operate, how I moved, how I spoke to her and things like that. And I am not saying, and please hear me, I am not saying that I was not at fault. Okay. I did a lot of things. I lied. And there's controversy behind this. But people that listened to me or have listened to me will know that when we were married, I did not cheat. Not once, not a single time did I ever cheat. Now, she will say that I did, and I will admit to the fact that I did not physically cheat, but apparently, when you're talking to somebody who, I guess, is starting to make you feel good about yourself again, that is nice to you, that's called emotional cheating. I didn't know that was a thing. Um, so yeah, okay. I guess I emotionally cheated. I had no idea that was an actual thing though. Um, what the hell? And so, um, yeah, when somebody sits there and talks to you in a certain way and just talks mad shit to you all the time, and like you're annoying, and tells you to shut the fuck up or get out of here, or, they don't want to be around you, they don't want to talk to you, it starts to put you in a place where you're like, do you just not want me around? Like, do you not want me here? Do you not want to talk to me? Do you not even want to be with me anymore? And so when you get to that point, you're kind of like, I'm really done with this. And I think that's when I sought. And here's the thing: I wasn't seeking out somebody else. That kind of just happened, when you've been talked to shittily for so long, and then all of a sudden somebody starts talking to you nice and appreciates you, and or seems to appreciate you and seems to enjoy your company. Um, you kind of like latch on to that, right? Because you didn't have it before. So that's what I did. I latched on to that. And now we never, like, me and this other person, we never went out. We never, had sex. We never did any, like, it was just conversation. It was just basically appreciating each other. And it was funny because at the time she was currently going through a divorce. And we started talking about all of that and kind of understanding where each other were at the time. So that developed. Now, had to have been a few months after that. um, she realized that I was talking to somebody else. I don't remember what the instance was that kicked it off, but she did that whole thing of like, "Oh yeah, well if you're not cheating, let me see your phone." And in my head, I'm like, "Shit, all right." So I gave her my phone, and sure as goddamn shit, she sees this message from this person like, "Hey, I hope you're having a good day. Miss you." Blah blah blah. And she blows up. She loses her mind. And that was the day, right? So at the time, we had, I think she was two, or a little over 1.5. We had a little girl, a little over 1.5. And at the time in my head, I'm like, look, I stuck around for this particular amount of time because I wanted my daughter to at least be able to communicate the things that she wanted before I left. Uh, excuse me. And she found the message. She starts getting pissed, and she just goes off. She goes off. My mother goes off. All this kind of stuff. Get out of here! You're an asshole and a chicken shit and blah blah. And all of a sudden, it just clicked in my head. I was like, you know what? This is my chance. If I don't leave right now, if I don't get out right now, I'm never gonna leave. I'm gonna get stuck. I'm gonna be miserable for the rest of my life. Um, I I can't deal with that. And so I was out. I was gone. you know, after a couple of days, you get the text and it's like, oh, hey, I miss you. I want my husband back. I want this. I want that. And blah, 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 blah. And I just kept replying. And I was like, nah, I'm done. I don't want any of that. I don't want to be in that. I'm not happy. You're not happy. I know you're not happy. So she suggests therapy. And I went into therapy thinking to myself, this isn't for us to get back together. This is uh, for us to learn how to co-parent with each other, right? Because we got a kid. We got a kid. I'm unhappy. You're unhappy. We got a kid. We got to learn how to co-parent and put all our bullshit aside for them. Well, she didn't take kindly to that. She didn't like the fact that that was my thought going into it, was that this was just for co-parenting. And so after the first session, and I realized kind of what it was, I was like, look, I'm not doing this. I'm not going back to this. I'm not going to do this therapy thing with you. Like, I'm done. And everybody kept asking me, like, how can you be done so fast? How can one day, like, you want to make this work, you want to try, you want to do all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you're done? Well, let me tell you that I wasn't just done that day. I was done months before, a year before that day. I had already emotionally made that disconnect with her, and there was no love, there was no affection, there was no nothing. There was just no care. I was done a long time ago, and that's what people don't understand. That when I say people, what I'm talking about is my family. And what my family didn't understand was that I had been done a long time ago. And what cracked me up was the backlash that I got from my family, the people that were telling me that I needed to get out of this relationship. The people that were telling me that I needed to get out of this relationship were the same ones that were giving me shit for being in the relationship, or not being in the relationship, I should say. So it didn't make any sense to me. It's like, why are you sitting there telling me that I need to try harder, that I shouldn't have given up, that I should have done this, and I should have done that, and I should have blah, 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 blah. The people that saw her treat me like shit were the same ones that were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you left. What in the hell? I mean, some of these people straight up told me, you need to get out. Whatever you need to do, you need to figure it out. I remember one morning I got up and we were already arguing, and I'm standing there, and I'm going to tell you this. We were living with my folks at the time. Okay. And I'm standing there, and my mother's like, son, I don't know what you need to do, but you need to figure out how to get out of this. And I'm like, wait a second, what the hell? Are you serious right now? She's like, yeah, this relationship, it's obviously not working. So you guys need to figure it out. You either need to figure it out, or you need to figure out how to get out of it. And in my head, after I left, I was like, hey, I did it, right? Shit, it was the shitty way of getting out of it, but fuck, I got out of it. And then there's backlash. What are you doing? I can't believe you left. I can't believe this. I can't believe that. And I'm just like, what in the excuse me. I'm like, what in the hell? How are you going to sit there and tell me I should have gotten out? I should have gotten out. And then when I get out, you're like, what the hell are you doing getting out? It didn't make any sense. And I'm, aside from my dad at the time, aside from my father, who, when I left, I had to go move in with my dad for a couple of weeks. Um, Aside from my dad, everybody else was just like, you're done. Okay. Cool. So I'll just do my own thing. Right. So we still had our daughter, obviously, like, she's not going anywhere. And so we're trying to work out time for me to see her. I was living with my dad. And so she was able to come with me and stay with me at my dad's house when I could take her. Um, but then, my dad's got his own thing going on too. And so he's letting me know, he's like, look, I love you to death. You're my son, but you got to figure out where to go. And I was not making a lot of money at the time. I was not making a lot of money, and I was living in California. And if you know California, California is stupid expensive. And so I just couldn't figure out what I was going to do, or how I was going to survive without, dual income, or where I was going to live, and any of that. So my credit was shit. It was just a bad situation. And so my dad's like, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a week. I think it was a week or 2 weeks or something at a Airbnb. I'm gonna give you 2 weeks at an Airbnb. And this is not like whole place to yourself kind of Airbnb. Like, I was sharing a room in a house in the middle of the freaking ghetto. And I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? I had almost no money. It was just a bad time. Um, And so I stay at this place for 2 weeks. I still haven't found a place to go. And I was lucky that I had a Jeep. I had a car, a Grand Cherokee that I was driving at the time. So when that Airbnb ended, right, I was like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Um, and so I ended up working for an office that had a parking structure, and it wasn't far from the gym that I had at the time, which was 24-hour fitness. And so I packed up all my shit, laid down all the seats in my Jeep, packed up all my shit, and I would park in the parking structure and just sleep there. I would sleep in my Jeep in the parking structure. When I had to in the morning, I would get up really early because I'm sure if y'all have 24-hour fitness, you know how it goes. I would get up really early. I'd go to the gym, I'd work out, and then I'd go shower because 24 hours got the showers. I'd go shower, get my stuff ready for the day, and then I'd go park back in the parking structure and go to work. And that was just kind of how it went for a long time. Um, and then I went from that to uh, having to park on the street um, and find a place to park where I felt comfortable. And at this time, my family didn't know any of this. They didn't know that I still don't think most of them know that I was homeless for probably 2 months. Yeah, I was homeless for like 2 months. And none of them knew because I didn't tell them. And that was on purpose. I didn't want to tell them. I didn't want them to know what was going on, but I refused to go back to that marriage. And this goes to show you how bad that was. I would rather be homeless than go back to that fucking marriage. Um, but the downside to all this was that when I was able to have my daughter, she couldn't stay with me, obviously, because I was living in a freaking Jeep. So what is she gonna do? Like, she's gonna live there with me? That's not gonna happen. So I would pick her up during the day. We'd hang out. I'd take her to the park or go to, I'd save what money I could. Um, I mean, because I still had to save money for a place. I'd save what money I could to be able to take her places, to take her to uh, the aquarium. I think we were going to go one time, and uh, to the park, which of course is free, but took her to Knott's Berry Farm and stuff like that, just to do stuff with her. I ended up saving up enough money to rent a room in a house with some people that were pretty chill. Um, and then I got into another relationship, and um, my ex-wife just tried to destroy that whole thing. Like, she was kind of stocky. um, she was like trying to deep dive into her personal life and personal business type stuff, and trying to stir the pot and do all this kind of crap. And it came to a head, and like everybody started fighting and arguing, and it was just bad scene all around. And it was really bad for my daughter, who ended up getting caught in the middle of all that. So time progressed, things kind of cooled down. Me and my girlfriend at the time found a place of our own. Um, Doing the podcast and trying to do this is rough. So we ended up getting a place in Long Beach, the area itself wasn't great, but it wasn't far from the beach, and it wasn't far from like good places to eat, and it wasn't far from the gym. So I mean, it was cool. Um, oh, and for a second there, we hit like 70 something viewers. So that was pretty fucking awesome. 70 something viewers. That's dope. Or there was. I'm not saying there is now. There was. I guess people got bored. Um, so we had our place. Everything was going well. And then all of a sudden, so I'm seeing now, remind you, I still have my daughter. So I'm seeing my daughter every weekend, or maybe like every other week. I'm seeing her almost every weekend, and she's able to come over to my place, and we're able to hang out, and she's able to stay over and all this other kind of stuff. I'm like, everything is great. Everything is good. Everything is great. And then all of a sudden one day, the freaking cops show up to my apartment, And they start questioning my girlfriend, and they start questioning my girlfriend's daughter, and they start questioning all. And I'm like, what is going on? Come to find out that my ex wanted to start some damn drama and accuse me of doing all sorts of kind of weird, crazy shit. And so the police get involved and they start investigating. And she uses this to withhold my daughter from me. She's like, I don't feel like she's safe, so you can't see her. Okay. What am I supposed to do with that? Right? Like, and this is where that disparity comes in. Remember how I told you like this kind of stuff was crazy? This is the disparity that I'm talking about. This is the stuff where I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why should you be able to get away with that? Um, and so she was able to withhold my daughter from me for almost 3 months. I didn't get to see her at all for almost 3 months before all of a sudden I was able to visit with her, but I was only able to visit with her um, at a park under supervision. Mind you, there's still no court order here. Okay. This is just her saying these things and me having to abide, because if I don't, if I say I'm not doing that, then I don't get to see my kid. And if I say, okay, I'll do that, and then I take my kid and I bounce, that's kidnapping. And so either way, I'm screwed. And she can just do this because she's the mom. She's the person accusing. She's the one that has the power right now. And that's nuts to me. The fact that that is a thing that the like you can just get away with that because you're a woman. I'm not knocking women. Okay. I'm not knocking all women. I'm saying like this is crazy that a dad is pushed to the side like that with no rights instantly, with no repercussion on the mother. So we go to court after some time, after everything is cleared up, right? The police do their investigation. I go in and do some damn polygraph test, all sorts of stuff. I'm cleared. There's no evidence. There's the polygraph test was passed with flying colors, all this stuff. And the fucking judge and the court still say I need supervised visitation. I have never been to jail, even though I look like maybe I have. I have never been to jail. I have never had a drug problem. Uh, I mean, in my eyes, I've never had an alcohol problem. I served my country honorably. Okay. Um, I mean, all the things that I thought I was supposed to do right, and still I have supervision. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Um, so we continue down this road of supervision and me having to get my mother to bring my daughter to me so that I can see her. And California was just not the place to be at the time. And so I moved out here to Texas, and I'm battling and fighting still today, almost 4 years later, um, just to get more time with my daughter. I just recently went out to California to visit with her, and I got to see her for a total of like 2 hours, I think. Um, I was there for an entire week, Monday to Friday. I got to see her for an hour and a half or 2 hours one day. And that's because the court have deemed that what's best for her is that she only gets to see me that amount of time. We talk on the phone 1 hour, 3 days a week. Um, and she tells me all the time that she wants to come out here, that she wants to see me, that you know, she wants to do all these things, and she can't because her mom tells her she can't. She won't let her. How does that work? It just doesn't make any sense to me. How is that what's in the best interest, excuse me, of the kid? If y'all have any ideas, if y'all can give me some insight, that would be great. And for those of you on the podcast, what I'm talking about is the two consistent people who are viewing the podcast right now, because we're live on TikTok right now. So, but yeah, I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me, and I don't think it'll ever make any sense to me. She still tries every once in a while to create drama. She's not communicative. Um, if I ask her a question, she doesn't hardly ever answer, or she gives me attitude about it. But when she asks a question, if I don't get back to her immediately, like that's a problem. So it's still this drama. And here's the funny thing is I'm at a point right now where I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You do whatever you want to do in your life. You act however you want to act with your people, right? Like it doesn't matter to me. But god damn, like you're gonna act like that with me? I'm the one that has the kid with you. Like, how are you gonna sit there and block me like that? That doesn't make any sense. Um, it just blows my mind really that while I can appreciate mothers, I grew up with a single mom who raised me and my sister almost damn near alone for the longest amount of time. Um, while I can appreciate a single mom, and I give it up to you for doing what you do, especially when there's like a deadbeat dad and homeboy just ain't around. But I feel like you, especially the women that do it on their own because the dad is just, I feel like you understand if the dad all of a sudden was like, look, I cleaned myself up, I'm paying child support, I'm there, if you need me and like whatever you need for the kid, I'm there. If that was the case, wouldn't y'all want the kid to see the dad? Wouldn't y'all want that to be the case? Wouldn't you want to be able to send them for a weekend or a week or whatever on summer break and just have some time to yourself for a change? I mean, aren't those things that you want? Don't your kids want to be with their parents? It doesn't make sense to me that you would try to keep your child away from a person who is in a good place. So this whole situation doesn't make sense to me. It's still, I don't think it'll ever make sense to me, and I don't know how to fix it because I had a kid with her in California and we were married in California. I guess everything has to stay there, and the fucking courts in California, you want to talk about being biased. Shit, the woman could damn near murder somebody and still get away with it and still be the one that takes home the cake in the whole thing. And so, people are like, oh, they're not biased. Oh, men have privilege and blah, blah. Nah, you see it from this point of view. It's the women that have the privilege. Y'all could do whatever you damn well please near. And it all goes to you from that side. I mean, that's all I see. Unless y'all want to tell me differently, that's what I'm seeing right now. And that might not be a popular opinion. You all might be like, well, fuck this guy. I ain't never going to see him again. I ain't never going to follow him. And that's cool. We're cool. That's all right. But I'm just telling you how things are happening from my side. Um, and so, we fight and I'm not going to give up. I'll damn near go broke to see my kid. And I have all the way down to zero before. Um, and it's to this point where it's like everybody's just telling me, hey, basically just hey, shut up and pay your child support. Don't worry about how much you see here. Just pay your child support. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna pay this shit, but I ain't gonna pay because you told me to pay it. I'm paying it because that's the right thing to do, right? You do the right thing to do. But y'all, this shit is just wild. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, so moving out of the drama, I want to talk about some pretty cool shit that I got going on here. Some really fun little toys that I picked up. We're gonna talk about some more stuff uh, on another episode, and we'll keep doing this. I got some consistent people watching, so it's cool. I got some cool stuff over here, and I got some cool stuff over here. So, first things first that I'm going to show you, and if you're not into tech, like this is one of those times where you're like, I need to get the fuck out of here because we're about to talk about some pretty fun techie shit. So I picked up. I don't necessarily travel a lot, but I do utilize power all the time. Like my device, the one that I'm on currently, where you guys are seeing me live, um, it sucks up power, man. It really does. It just drains the hell out of my phone, or it just drains power out like crazy. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get a charging cable here, and so I need charging bank carrying with me all the time. But I don't know if you've experienced this, especially with charging banks. Um, you have to charge the motherfucker. Obviously, if you want power, the charging bank has to have power, right? So I had another one, and I did a review on another one. Hang on one second, I'm gonna get it for you. This one, and I know you're looking at it like, God damn, I think it's fucking huge. But this one is 40,000 hour milliamp hour portable charger, and it's really cool because it has there it is. It has the DC outlet, right? So you can plug a computer charger into it and run your computer off of this thing, and it works great. Plus, it's got 3 USB ports, a USB-C, and it lasts for a really long time. I've used it. It's still got one little ticker here, and I used it my entire trip out to California. It charged my phone from 0 to 100 like 4 times. It helped me run my computer when I was working because I couldn't find an outlet. And it worked really well. The problem is that I have to plug this in. I have to find the plug, right? Because it's a cord. Um, and I have to plug it in, and it takes goddamn forever to charge. And so a lot of times it'll sit for months on end without a charge, and then I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go somewhere, and I gotta plug it in and charge it. The beauty of this thing is, you see those little pins under there? This is all magnetic, and all I have to do is take this and pop it on its little stand. Let's see if I can pull it over here far enough for y'all to see. There it is. This little stand, I just have to pop it on here, and it charges it wirelessly. And so at the beginning, or every night, I take this thing out of my bag, I pop it on the charger, boom, done. It charges to 100%, and it tells you exactly how long it's going to take to do that. It charges to 100%. Every morning I grab it, I put it in its little carrying case, throw it in my bag, and I'm off. Right? So every single day this thing is charged, ready to go. And I think this one's 20,000 hours, 20,000 milliamp hours. It's got two USB-C. It's got two USB-C and then a USB A port, and it's got a really cool display that every time you plug something in, it tells you how much power it's giving off. Tells you if your phone's getting hot or whatever it's charging. Tells you if it's getting hot or not. And it's really cool. It really, I mean, it works for me. So yeah, I am going to in the description of my next video, I'm going to give like a little rundown of what this live was about so that y'all follow the next one. But I'm going to put the link to my Facebook store, or sorry, my Facebook store, my Amazon store, my Amazon storefront. And I'm going to put the link to this in there if you want to pick it up. And you can pick it up at a discount. I think it's like 10% if you buy it from my Amazon store. And yeah, it just, I mean, if you need something like that, that shit is just works great. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and we'll just briefly talk about it because we've taken up quite a lot of time here, is the current device that I'm using. The current device that I'm using is the Google Pixel Fold. I was rolling on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, and I jumped to the Pixel Fold the first chance that I got. And let me tell you, on the Fold 4, I was opening that thing every time I wanted to use it. Every single time, pop it open, and I'd do what I had to do. With the Pixel, because the main screen is so much bigger, I think the time that I spend on the inner screen with it fully unfolded is maybe a quarter of the time that I spend on my phone total. And the reason I do that is because I can split screen in there and I can work in there. Like yesterday, I was doing some work from my phone while I was at the Christmas parade or festival that was here in town. And I was able to just do work from there. And although the RAM is not as big on here, I think it's like 8 GB, whereas the Z Fold was 12. Uh, and so it made gaming on the device a lot easier and a lot funner, a lot faster. But I don't have any problem with this thing working. I thought I was going to have a problem with the thick bezels around the edge, but it doesn't bother me in the slightest. And I really do think it's the aspect ratio when you unfold it. I think that's what kind of makes up for those bezels is the fact that when you unfold it, everything is just like right there in front of you. Um, I have multiple reviews that are going to come out. I'll post them out on YouTube, but they all go to my Amazon store, and it's for a truck tent, a projector. I'll do a more in-depth video on the Anker charger. Um, I have a trifold screen that I plug into my laptop so that I have my main screen and then 2 additional screens. I have a camping stove set. I got a lot of stuff, and it's all cool shit, and it's all going to go up on the podcast. It's all going to go up on the YouTube page. Um, I believe my YouTube page is linked up in the profile. If it's not, I'm going to put it up there shortly. So y'all, if you're not following me already, please follow, because this shit's going to blow up. And I want to really showcase, the dad side of things. And I want you guys to really understand what it's like, um, to be a single parent or a single father in a place where it's like, you're just getting stonewalled every chance they get. And so if you want to listen to other episodes, if you want to kind of catch up with us, it's Dad Talk. The QR code is here if you want to snap a picture of that or screenshot, whatever you want to do. And again, there is a video on here, if you can find it, where I'm giving these things out for free. So if you want a mug, it's a pretty shitty mug, but it does the job. If you want a mug, go there, subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the TikTok. Let me know that you did both of those things, and I'll send you one. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you all took something away from this. And for those of you that were hanging out on the live, I appreciate it. It's always fun to see that kind of thing. If you're not following me, again, give me a follow, and we'll do this again next week. So yeah, have a great dad day, and stay frosty.